What's up, YouTube? I'm back. And as you can tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be talking about binging. The first thing I want to talk about is what everybody says. There's a difference between binging and overeating. So the difference is overeating is usually something that happens once in a while and is mostly defined by you're already feeling full and you go ahead and just eat a little bit more than what would be nutritionally necessary for you. An example of this would be you've already eaten dinner and you feel full, but you go back for that extra helping because it's so good. Or you're at a birthday party and you decide to go ahead and indulge in that second piece of cake, which would be above the serving size. So that is an example of just overeating. Binging is a whole other beast. First of all, let me say that there's actually something called binge eating disorder, BED. Which I'll touch on a little bit, but more what I'm talking about is a specific episode of binging. Usually you suffer from binges occasionally, but they have happened repeatedly. They're usually related to a trigger of some sort, whether that be a feeling like stress, anxiety, depression, overwhelming sense of grief, or it can be related to an actual food itself that really just triggers you to get you going. But usually there's some sort of cause that pushes somebody to binge. Binging itself is eating a significant amount of food in less than about a 2-hour span. So it's a lot of food in a very short amount of time. It's eating until you feel uncomfortably full to the point of sickness. Your stomach feels tight. Maybe you have gas. Maybe you feel like the food is up to here, and yet somehow you keep going back for more despite the feelings of sickness. You are no longer listening to the physical cues of your body that are telling you to stop eating, and your mind basically has taken over and is compelling you to shovel in this extra additional food that you don't need. It usually is associated with feelings of lack of control, almost to the point of mindlessness or an out-of-body experience where you just cannot stop yourself. And the end result is that you have feelings of guilt, depression, disgust with yourself, embarrassment, any of these things. But pretty much the number one difference, in my opinion, between overeating and binge eating is the fact that overeating people will do, and both of my examples would be like social situations, so there are other people around, and binging happens in secret. Even to the point of sometimes your close friends and family members won't know that you suffer from this or do this. Now, BED has a few, that's binge eating disorder. BED has a few extra specifications that make it go from having an occasional binge to the full-on disorder. And one of those would be that you have these recurrent episodes 1 or 2 times a week for about at least 3 months. Another qualification of this is that you eat to the point of feeling sick, but you don't actually purge. You don't throw it up. You just feel the physical sickness. There's a few other ones, like the 2-hour time limit. That's actually from binge eating disorder. Like, qualification would be that you eat this significant amount of food within 2 hours. I just really think within a short period of time would qualify it. But so those are the main differences between overeating on occasion, overindulging, going back for that little something extra, and binge eating to the point of feeling fucking sick and then still eating. So what can you do once you've already had a binge? I have my phone here. I've been writing down some notes. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. So what I really want to get across is thinking about why. Why has this happened? Once it's already happened, it's happened. But let's think about why. What is your body or mind craving that this food is fulfilling? You know, were you triggered by something incredibly stressful happening, so you went right to the kitchen? Were you triggered by an overwhelming sense of grief? Did you lose somebody in your life close to you? It doesn't even have to be necessarily a person. Did you lose an opportunity that you were really counting on? Or even, I mean, it can even be something as seemingly insignificant as like your favorite show that you've been hooked on for several years has ended and now you feel empty because those characters are no longer in your life. I know that sounds trivial, but we are so affected by our day-to-day patterns that things out of the norm can really throw us off and push us to the edge and push us to find maybe comfort in this food. You know, you're really searching for something when you go on a binge. It's your mind that's pushing you to the food. It's not a feeling of I'm hungry. Something within you, in your mind, is pushing you to the food to try and satiate something within yourself. It can be, like I wrote down here, freedom. Even like, let's say that you are constantly surrounded by your friends and family, and all of a sudden you're alone, and you're alone with a lot of food, and you're, you know, super strict on yourself, and you're always on your A game when everybody's around. But now that they're not around, this freedom just draws you to the food. It's like that innate sense of, you know, somebody telling us that we can't do something, and then suddenly we have the opportunity, so we just fucking take it like balls to the walls. For me, when I have episodes of binging, which I do, it's a trigger food. And I know what that trigger food is. It's peanut butter. Which might sound silly, but peanut butter, I don't know why, it just fucking calls to my soul. Oh, even just thinking about it. I would recommend getting the trigger food out of the house, but for me, that's a little bit of an impossibility because my daughters also really love peanut butter, and I'm not going to deny them peanut butter sandwiches in their school lunches because I can't seem to control myself sometimes. That's unfair. So one of the things that I do to avoid my actual trigger food is I just don't make it as visible or easily available to me. Basically, I don't put it at eye level height in the pantry. It goes in a cupboard, so it's like I have time to open the door, open the cupboard, and reach for it, and this whole time be thinking like either yes, you should, or no, you shouldn't be doing this. And it's kind of up to you whether or not you'll allow yourself to have this said trigger food in small amounts. Like sometimes I do fine if I like weigh out the peanut butter and portion it out and track it in MyFitnessPal, and I'm fine with that. And other days, or really, like I said, I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I think I had kind of a combination of two of these symptoms. My husband went out of town on business, so I had freedom, and then I had my trigger food rather readily available. Peanut butter. So I had freedom to eat peanut butter, and I took down like half of a jar, which may not sound like that bad, but it's all relative to you, like what it is. I know that I had a lack of self-control. I know that I was feeling full and that I didn't need to eat it, and yet kind of in my mind it was like, oh, this is your chance. And to that effect, there's something that we need to remind ourselves that peanut butter will be there tomorrow. Cupcakes will be there tomorrow. Bread will be there tomorrow. None of these foods are going extinct. It's not like the store is suddenly going to run out with these. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing or an all right now or never again. That is the kind of mindset that does lead to these binge episodes. So really, I think that after it's happened, you need to accept that it's happened. There's nothing that you can do about it. Like you can't take it back, but what you can do is think about why did it happen? Like I said, I analyzed, I kind of figured out that the combination of freedom, having the trigger food around, and just the opportunity or whatever was kind of the trifecta for me in this instance, in this moment. So once you've figured it out, or hopefully you try and think about figuring it out, you need to understand and realize that you're human. You're human and you make mistakes and shit happens, and it's okay. It doesn't make you any less fit. It doesn't make you any less, knowledgeable. It doesn't make you any more gross or disgusting or anything else like that. It just means that you made one freaking mistake and that's it. Now, to avoid it being a pattern and just have it be that one episode, I feel like what you really need to do is allow for it to be a mistake. Don't deny it. Don't pretend like it never happened. Acknowledge that it happened. Figure out why that it happened, and then tell yourself it's okay that it happened, but let's try not to let it happen again, because you don't like the feelings of the after feelings, the feelings of guilt, of embarrassment, of disgust, etc., etc. So what I did was I literally went to the mirror, I looked myself in the eyes and said, Karen, I don't want you to do that again. You're worth more than that. You're worth more than peanut butter. Your hard work is worth more than peanut butter. Like literally in the mirror saying those words to myself. I also highly encourage what I did was to make a list of several things, like recent things that I had done right. So on my list was hit up the gym six times that week, which is just like my normal split. I have time for that. So hit up the gym every day I was supposed to. Hit my macros perfectly 5 days out of the 7. What else was on my list? Oh, walked my daughter to school every day that week instead of driving. There were a couple others, but it doesn't matter. Whatever's on your list, small things, it does not matter. Like let's say somebody brought donuts to the office and you chose not to have a donut. That's a fucking very significant victory that should be celebrated. Or let's say you did choose to have a donut, but you only had one instead of what could have easily been 3. That's also a victory. Like you just need to celebrate that you are trying to change, trying to make an effort. As long as you can honestly say that you are trying, you should be proud of yourself. So I encourage you to let it be okay, let it be a mistake. Tell yourself that you're worth more than that. You're worth more than that freaking piece of cake. You're worth more than that cheese. You're worth more than that bread. You're worth more than that fucking peanut butter. You are worth more than that. Also remind yourself that that food is always going to be there. And it's okay to have some on occasion, but it will always be there and you don't have to eat it like it's going extinct. Then tell yourself several good things that you have done. Remind yourself that you are on the right track and that you're making progress and that one mistake is not going to fuck everything up that you've done that you're working for. Be easy on yourself. Recognize that you are trying. Recognize that you're trying. Sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling down. If you do the suggested things that I've said or whatever, I really feel like it'll become less of a prevalent thing over time. You do need to give yourself time. Like everything that I've said in the past videos about losing weight and everything like that is true. And I always say it takes patience. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of discipline. Same thing with this. It will take patience. It will take time, and it will take a lot of discipline. It will take a lot of learning. And it'll take forgiving yourself over and over again if you have to. But also just moving on. And when I say moving on, I mean, don't the next day think, oh, fuck, I ate, 4,000 calories last night. I guess I can't eat anything today. No, that leads to the cycle of restrict and then saying, fuck it, and binge, and then feeling guilty and then restrict and then saying, fuck it, and then binge. So don't do that. When you accept it as a mistake, realize you can't change it, and suffering today won't help change the past at all. So what I recommend is drinking extra water the next day to really help just like flush the feeling, like the body from all the probably excess sodium from all the processed foods that you had, but also just like kind of a fresh start, like just flush it all away. Just fucking forget about it. Just water it out. So I'd say recommend taking a lot of water. I also would recommend just getting straight back onto your diet or your program or your plan or however the hell you want to call it. Just get right back into the normal routine. You don't need to restrict yourself further. You don't need to go a million times harder in the gym to make up for it. Just get right back into normal. Get back to your habit. That is going to be the best way to stop the cycle of binging and restricting, because binges are usually a product of having been restricted in a certain way for a while and then being let go, like a freedom, like I was saying, or something really bad happening that's out of the ordinary, that's not normal. So let's not stay out of the ordinary with restricting ourselves or with going extra hard in the gym. Let's get right back into our ordinary, our regular habits, our regular programs, diets, routines, however you want to say it, like whatever you do, just like your normal life, get back to it. The binge hasn't changed the person you are. It hasn't changed the path that you're on. It hasn't changed your goals. It's all still the same. So you just need to keep on working towards it in the same way. I think that's actually like pretty much it. The only other thing that I would say is like if you are like me and you have a trigger food and you don't actually have a reason to keep it around in the house, like if I didn't have my kids like wanting and loving peanut butter sandwiches, I probably would have thrown the jar away, but instead I did leave the other half of the jar and I put it away, like I said, within, so just making it not as accessible. But if I could have thrown it away, I would have, and not felt bad about the waste, because honestly, I'd rather have it in the trash than on my ass. That's what I always tell myself when I'm feeling a little bit wasteful. I'd rather have it in the trash than on my ass. And my previous habit would have been, like a couple years ago, would have been to just eat all the food because the food's there and you don't want to throw it away, and there are starving kids in Africa and, et cetera, all these other little things that go through your mind. But I choose to prioritize myself. I don't care if that sounds selfish. That's like what I need to do at this point in my journey. So I prioritize myself and I will throw that shit away. To the point of like my peanut butter trigger, I've known that I've had this peanut butter issue for a while, and probably about 4 months ago, if you've been following me on IG, then you saw me do this, but about 4 months ago, I had like 9 or 10 specialty peanut butters that I just basically wasn't able to control myself with. So I took like 8 or 10, I don't even know how many, and put them in a box, but not just a box like one of those post office box that has the adhesive seal, so it's like you cannot fucking open this, and if you open it, it's fucking opened. So I put it in one of those boxes and I wrote myself a note that said not to be opened until after Olympia, which, if you don't know, is a bodybuilding expo in Vegas, which is less than 2 weeks away, which I'm so freaking excited for. But that's basically I'm not going to say the end date of my diet, but it's where I really decided that I'm going to start doing my reverse diet out and then, working on other goals or whatever. But basically, so I locked it up in a box away from myself, put that little note on it, and I'm very proud to say I haven't touched it, I haven't opened it. I will be taking it to Vegas with me, because you best believe I'm ripping into that after Olympia. But my husband will be there. I will have my food scale. I will try as hard as I can to control myself. I think my whole point is that to just be self-aware and to do whatever you need to do to curb these binges. Like I said, we're all human. We all make mistakes. It doesn't make you less, fitness. It doesn't make you less like of a weight loss person or whatever. It doesn't change your goals. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. The key is to learn from them. Excuse me. So I hope this helped. Again, always rambling. Karen, just always over here, just fucking rambling. So hope this helped. Leave me a comment down below if you have any specific questions or anything about it. I'll do my best to answer. Also, if you have a trigger food like I do, I'd love to hear what it is. Leave it down below. Otherwise, like this video if it helped you at all. It just really helps get the content out there for other people that might not be seeing it. And I also wanted to say, I can't believe I have over 200 subscribers. That's freaking crazy. So awesome. I must be helping some people, and I hope that's the case. Have a good day. Until next time. Bye.